I read 7 books in the month of June. Let's talk about them. I thought it would be fun to go in order of lowest to highest ranking. My average rating according to Storygraph is 4.08 for this month. I feel like that's pretty good compared to the other months so far. I did have a couple almost 5-star reads this month, which was cool. So let's start on the bottom with the no rating portion, because there is one book I didn't give a single star rating to. Not because it was bad, but because it's a classic book and I don't really know how to rate classic books.
On the bottom, page.
The writing style is so different than how it is now, so it just feels kind of complicated to me to try to rate it based on a 5-star scale. What was considered a bad book back then or a good book back then could be considered good or bad now. So I don't rate classic books for that reason. I personally liked this book, The Picture of Dorian Gray. I did a whole video on it where I watched 2 of its movie adaptations and compared them to the book. I really enjoyed the themes of this novel, and I don't know, it was one of those classics where I'd probably read it again at some point in the future. If you don't know what The Picture of Dorian Gray is about, it's about a young man in Victorian London, Dorian Gray. He's very handsome, youthful, allures a lot of people to him. He sits for a portrait. He's sat for many portraits by an artist named Basil Hallward. After one such painting that Basil does of him, Dorian laments that he'll never be as young as he is in the painting, how while he ages, the painting will remain forever youthful and beautiful. So he makes a wish that it could be reversed, that the painting could age and Dorian could stay young and beautiful forever. Then he embarks on a life of pleasure seeking, I guess you could call it, and he doesn't really know the toll it's taking on his soul until he looks at his painting and realizes that all of the bad things he's done or all of the morally corrupt things that he's been doing are showing themselves on the image of his painting rather than his own body. If you've been unsure about this or if you never read it in school but you've been curious about it, I would recommend it. I think it was a very interesting read, and all of the history surrounding the book and Oscar Wilde is very fascinating to me. You can watch my Dorian Gray video for a bit more context, but I do recommend redoing your own research and reading the book for yourself. That was my one book with no rating. Now let's move on to the one book I had with, because I'm weird, I do like half ratings and quarter ratings. So 3.25 stars went to Immortal Game by Allison Saft. This book comes out August 4th. Thank you so much to St. Martin's Press and Wednesday Books for the ARC. I'm gonna just read you my review that I wrote on Storygraph and Goodreads. I post all my ARC reviews on Goodreads, and I don't usually leave reviews on Storygraph. I only do star ratings, but for ARCs I do write out a review. So again, with this book, I sort of talked about it in one of my previous videos where I tried to read a bunch of ARCs in one week, but I didn't get to finish the book in that video. Or did I? Did I finish it? I don't think I finished the book in that video, but I did read some of it and I talked about some of it. So I gave this 3.25 stars. So I'm just gonna read my review because I'm lazy and I already have it written. I was excited for this book because I really liked one of Allison Saft's other books, A Fragile Enchantment. Honestly, there was nothing inherently wrong with this one. It was just missing that spark that would make me more invested in the story. At first, the chess aspect felt a bit disjointed and kind of forced, but I grew to like it. If you want more of my in-depth thoughts on the chess aspect of this book, you can watch my reading vlog from a couple weeks ago. I thought it was a fun twist on the typical Fae Trials type of book. The world building was a bit confusing at first, but it was easier to follow along the more I read. I also enjoyed the fairy lore. Kira was a highlight for me and definitely my favorite character, as well as Daniel. They both had a lot of depth for side characters and I was more interested in them than the FMC Shay. Shay's character was flat to me and I just couldn't connect with her. We're also told that Shay and Kira don't get along, but what we're shown sort of contradicts that, question mark. Character motivations are told rather than shown, as well as the dynamic between Kira and Shay. Shay and Kira had no chemistry, and I think it was because Shay is such a flat character. Overall, it was just missing something for me that would have made this an amazing book rather than just okay. So if you don't know what Immortal Game is about, this is about a chess grandmaster, Shay Fury, and years ago her sister was taken to the other world, which is like the Fae world, by the fairy king Midir Aprile. So he takes her sister because he says that it's his long lost love and she needs to come to the other world to marry him. The sister agrees to go and they go off together. One thing about Midir and about the Fae apparently is that they love games, and the Irish Fae especially love chess. So once every 100 years, Midir hosts a chess tournament where he invites a bunch of humans and a bunch of fairies from his land to compete in a chess tournament, and whoever wins and whoever beats him gets one wish granted. So Shay enters the tournament and she's hoping that she'll beat Midir for a chance to free her sister. And like I said in my review, there was just something missing to it. There's just that spark that just was missing. And I did DNF one of Allison Saft's other books this month. I'm not going to say what it was because I'm not here to cause any trouble or be mean about books that people might like, but I did DNF another of her books and I just think maybe her books aren't for me. Thinking back, I did enjoy A Fragile Enchantment, but like not enough to make me like obsessed with it or want to reread it at any point. So I'm thinking maybe her books just aren't for me. Okay, I gave one book this month 3.5 stars, and that was Roll for Romance by Lenora Woods. This is a D&D RPG, what is it called? Like lit RPG, is that what this subgenre is called, where they like play RPGs, or like it's like based on those, I don't know. So the main character, honestly, I forgot her name because I read this at the beginning of the month. My short-term memory is very bad. The main character moves to Texas to live with her best friend after she loses her job. She's kind of depressed, not doing so well, and so he invites her to his D&D game. It's a new game that he set up with a couple people from around town, including another new guy who I don't remember his name either. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna rename them. The main girl, I'm gonna call her Mary. And then the guy is, I actually think his name's Noah, so I'm just gonna call him Noah. So Mary and Noah, that's not their names. I could literally just look on the thing right here and find out what their names are. Sadie and Noah. So I did get one right. He looks like a Noah, honestly. Sadie and Noah join this D&D game with a couple other people, including Sadie's best friend. Don't remember his name, do not ask me. And they fall in love while playing this game. What I thought was cool about this book was that it's told from Sadie's perspective, and then it's told from the perspective of her D&D character, Jaylee. So we get to read the campaign as like a book, instead of them just like talking about what they're doing during the game. It's like shifts perspectives into this D&D world, which I did think was fun. When I read reviews for the book, a lot of people didn't like that aspect, but I thought it was fun. One thing that held me back from liking this book more was Noah. Oh my god, I thought he was so just like red flag after red flag. First of all, kind of dorky to me, but he like rode a bike. Like when you're first introduced to them, someone asked like if he needs a ride home, and he's like, no, I have my bike. So I was thinking, oh, he rides like a motorcycle. No, it was like a bike. Like, and she like rides on the bike with him. I don't know why I thought it was really funny and just like not very attractive. I don't know. Fellas, is riding a bike attractive? Is it hot? I don't know. But I just was like, okay. Another thing I did not like about him was just like, hard to describe, but he was very a non-committal type of person, where he's like moves around all the time and he's only here for like fun times, and like that's the vibe he gave. Like he lives in a little van and he drives around, and no shade to anyone like that, but when I'm reading a romance book, I want to read about people who are like interested in being into long-term commitment relationships, where with these two it was like Sadie was kind of a buttoned up professional girl, like kind of introverted, likes to draw, things like that, and he was very free spirit, just here for good times type of guy. And I just did not like that. And even at the end, they were both kind of like, well, we don't know if this relationship will last. Like that kind of vibe. Like, I don't know. That's not why I read romance books. I read romance books to see them fall in love and be married or together for like the rest of their lives. Not, you know, maybe he'll get bored of her in a year and split. I did read one review that was just basically saying, I give them 5 months. And I thought that was hilarious because yeah, that was the vibe I got for this entire book. So that's why I didn't really rate it higher. Okay, 3.75. The one book I gave 3.75 stars to, Her Tortured Beast by E.P. Bali. This is the 4th book in her Vicious Beast series. I don't know why I didn't rate it higher. I think the characters were starting to annoy me, and so I just gave it 3.75 stars. I still need to read the final book, but it's not on audio yet, so I'm having a hard time sitting down and reading it on my Kindle. This is a Why Choose romantasy series, paranormal romance series, where they all have beast forms. So there's humans and then there's beasts, animalia. So basically they can shift into different beasts, aka animals. And they go to this academy for feral beasts where they learn how to assimilate with humans, and a bunch of other stuff happens. So if you are interested in Why Choose paranormal series, I do recommend this specifically on audio. I really don't think I would have gotten far in this series if I hadn't listened to it, which is why I'm struggling to read the 5th book, because I'm just like, I don't have time to just sit down and read this. Like, I don't know. I really like the audiobooks though. Okay, 4.5 stars. I gave one book 4.5 stars, and that was An Ocean Apart by Jill 2. I did talk about this book and Roll for Romance in my video about summer reading recs that I did a couple weeks ago. This is a dystopian, YA dystopian. It's kind of like The Bachelor meets The Hunger Games. The Hunger Games is used so broadly now to comp any dystopian book. I wouldn't say this is really like The Hunger Games, but it is a dystopian book. So like dystopian bachelor, I guess you could say. The world has kind of been destroyed by capitalism and climate change. So all the rich people have fled the land and they now live on these luxury yachts and cruise ships on the sea. The main character, she sneaks aboard one of these ships and enters under a fake identity this bachelor-esque type competition that one of the rich people is hosting for her son. Her son is coming of age. He's looking for love, and she said, okay, you could choose from like one of 8 of the richest girls in the world, and then whoever you choose, you know, this competition will be televised, there'll be challenges, and whoever you choose, you guys will get a nest egg of money for your future. And so the main character, I believe her name's Eden, she sneaks aboard this ship because she wants that money. So she's gonna like trick everyone and win the competition and run off with the money. money. I really, really love this book. Honestly, it was such a fun dystopian book. Very refreshing too. I feel like a lot of dystopian books nowadays, they try too hard maybe. I don't know. But this one was believable and it was interesting. I really liked the main characters. The romance was sweet. So I enjoyed this one and I highly recommend it if you're looking for a YA dystopian book. Speaking of YA dystopian books, of the 2 books I gave 4.75 stars, which is the highest rating I gave this month. Survival Show by Juno Dawson, another arc that comes out August 4th. Now this one, The Hunger Games, is a comp that is, yeah, it's like The Hunger Games. You can see more of my thoughts in the reading vlog I did a couple weeks ago, because I did finish this book for that reading vlog and did like an extensive review. But oh my gosh. Wow, I'm still thinking about this book. Weeks later, I'm still thinking about it. This is about Taryn. Taryn loves to sing. She's a really good singer. She lives in a dystopian world. Again, a believable dystopian world. There's all kinds of things going on here. Corruption, greed, capitalism, climate change. There is this reality show called Star Maker where they have talented young women like her, sometimes men, on the show and they make them a star. But if you get eliminated from Star Maker, you are executed. Because Star Maker has partnered with this other program called Project Population. To control the population, people can submit themselves to Project Population where they're basically euthanized, but then their family gets like $500 or something, some sort of good amount of money for every year that they've lived goes to their family if they do this. So the risk you take by entering Star Maker is that you could die if you're eliminated. And of course it's all rigged. This is very much a commentary on like the entertainment industry and reality TV shows. Highly, highly recommend this when it comes out August 4th. Let me read you my review. I posted on Storygraph and Goodreads. So wow, I flew through this book. I could not get enough. I'm always searching for new dystopian books and this one checked every box. I don't make this comparison lightly, but it reminded me so much of The Hunger Games, and not because they're both YA dystopians with a televised survival show, but because of the deeper themes and messaging woven throughout the story, plus the fierce yet relatable main character. I wasn't sure what to expect because the title and concept felt a bit silly, but wow, what an amazing critique of not only climate change, greedy billionaires, wealth inequality, AI, etc., 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 but also the entertainment industry and manufactured reality TV shows. There's also the theme of girlhood/womanhood and how powerful fangirls are, which elevated the story so much for me. I think what's most unsettling is that the world is almost like ours currently, so it's disturbing that a reality show is killing the contestants. At times while reading, their world felt like ours in a few years. It made me think of how we could very well be living in a world like this one sometime soon, which isn't that why we read dystopian novels? They mirror our own worlds and reflect all the nasty that so we might do something about it before it's too late. There was some repetition, like certain phrases being used a lot, but honestly I was so engrossed in the story I didn't even care. The timeline was also a bit confusing, but similar to the repetition, after a while I was too into the story to really care. It's the distant future, so I think that's all that matters. Something also kept me back from rating this a full 5-star. I binged this and flew through it, but I could not get enough, but I think what held me back was the beginning. It felt a bit disconnected from the rest of the story. I had to remind myself of things that happened in the beginning because it felt so far away from the central plot. Overall, I really enjoyed this one. Apparently there's going to be a sequel too. I was totally okay with an openish ending, but I am sad for a sequel. I would definitely reread this book to prepare for that one. So again, if you want to see more of my in-depth thoughts, you can check out my reading vlog from a few weeks ago. So the last book I'm going to talk about in the other book I gave 4.75 stars was Silver Cloak by L.K. Stephen. I can't even describe to you how much I enjoyed this book. I was like, wow, refreshing was the word. Refreshing. And also pleasantly surprised because I was worried. I really wanted to like this one just based on what it's about, and I really wanted to like it, but I was so scared that I wouldn't like it, and then I did like it. So this is about, what's her name again? Oh yeah, Saffron. Saffron, when she was a kid, she witnessed her parents' murder by this magical mafia known as the Blood Moons. And so ever since then, Saffron has dedicated her life to trying to take down these Blood Moons. She joins the Silver Cloaks, which is kind of like this world's police force. She joins the Silver Cloaks with the hopes of taking the Blood Moons down at one point, sometime, hopefully soon. When an undercover mission comes up inside the Blood Moons operations, they need someone on the inside to take them down from the inside. Saffron jumps at the chance. She is like, sign me up. I'm going to do this. Actually, some other stuff happens which kind of forces her to do it, but she's going to do it anyway because she wants to take them down. So she joins the Blood Moons and she gets like fully entrenched into their world. It was just, oh my gosh. You know when you really like a book and you're just like at a loss for words because it was so good. That's what I felt with this. I'm really, really glad I liked it because wow. And I don't want to give any spoilers about any certain details of the book, but like, there were parts in this book where I was literally like giggling and like I would recommend this one. It was bordering on urban fantasy. It's not fully an urban fantasy, but it's like almost there. I don't know what the exact timeline is supposed to be because it's a, you know, fantasy world, but it was similar to like urban fantasies, which I love urban fantasy books, so obviously I like this one a lot. And there's going to be a second one. I'm hoping to get an arc. I did request an arc, so you will for sure see my thoughts on the arc on probably my TikTok or maybe on here, I don't know. But I do recommend Silver Cloak because wow, it was good. Those are the books I read in June. I wanted to read more actually. I think this is the most books I've read so far this year. This year I'm really prioritizing, what are the people saying on TikTok? Comprehension rather than consumption. I'm not trying to put so much pressure on myself to read so many books. Like last year I was reading 10 to 20 books a month. Like that's how deep into it I was. But this year I am really trying to prioritize just like enjoying the books I'm reading, taking my time with them, even though I get antsy because I look at my TBR and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so many books to get through. But that's not the right mindset I'm trying to have anymore. I'm trying to have the mindset of just like, I want to enjoy the books I'm reading, take my time. So thanks so much for watching. Tell me about the books that you read in June. Did we read any of the same books? What was your favorite book or least favorite book? Let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more videos. I've done pretty well so far of uploading every Saturday, so that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Next weekend, I am going to be taking some time off because I'm going on a trip, but then I'll be back the weekend after that with a couple exciting new videos. Don't forget to turn the notifications on either, so you're notified when I do post those fun videos. Well, I'll see you next time. Bye.